नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरये
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Entitled Creation, Chapter 9, Passing of Bhisma. Bhisma's passing away. Text number 15. Yatra dharma suto raja gada panir vrikodaraha Krishno stri gandivam chapam Suhrit Krishna stato vipa Yatra dharma suto raja gada panir vrikodaraha Krishno stri gandivam chapam Suhrit Krishna stato vipa Yatra dharma suto raja gada panir vrikodaraha Krishnosti gandivam chapam Suhrit Krishna stato vipa
Yatra dharma suto raja
gada panir vrikodaraha Krishnosti gandivam chapam Suhrit Krishna stato vipa
Yatra dharma suto raja gada panir
vrikodaraha
Krishnosti gandivam chapam
Krishnosti gandivam chapam
Suhrit Krishna stato vipa
Suhrit Krishna stato vipa
Yatra dharma suto raja
gada panir vrikodaraha Krishnosti gandivam chapam
Suhrit Krishna stato vipa
Suhrit Krishna stato vipa
Yatra dharma suto raja
gada panir vrikodaraha Krishnosti gandivam chapam Suhrit Krishna stato vipa. Synonyms: Yatra, where there is, Dharma Sutaha, the son of Dharmaraj, Raja, the king, Gadapanihi, with his mighty club in hand, Vrikodaraha, Bhima, Krishnaha, Arjuna, Astri, career of the weapon, Gandivam, Gandiva, Chapam, bow, Suhrit, well-wisher, Krishnaha, Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, Tataha, thereof, Vipat, rivers. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reversals in the presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of the demigod controlling religion, Bhima, the great fighter with the club, the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon Gandiva, and above all the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. Translation with repetition. Oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses? In the presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of the demigod, controlling religion, Bhima, the great fighter, with a club, the great bowman Arjuna, with his mighty weapon Gandiva, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As far as the material or spiritual resources were required, there was no scarcity in the case of Pandavas. Materially, they were well equipped because two great warriors, namely Bhima and Arjuna, were there. Spiritually, the king himself was the symbol of religion. And above all of them, the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, was personally concerned with their affairs as the well-wisher. And yet there were so many reverses on the side of the Pandavas. Despite the power of pious acts, the power of personalities, the power of expert management, and the power of weapons under the direct supervision of Lord Krishna, the Pandavas suffered so many practical reverses, which can only be explained as due to the influence of Kala, inevitable time. Kala is identical with the Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. There is nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any human being. Thus ends the wonderful transcendental Bhakti-Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana-Timirandhasya Jnana-Shalakaya Chakshur-Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu-Padaya Krishna-Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminathinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are in this wonderful section of Bhishma Deva's prayers. And these purports of Prabhupada are extremely powerful, very revealing, and written in the time when Prabhupada was in Radha Damodar temple. But these things which I have explained here, even lifetimes are insufficient to fathom the depths. Let us try to understand today's verse. Yatra dharma suto raja gada panir brikodara krishnostri gandivam chapam subhrut krishnas tato vipat. Yatra is always followed by tatra, but here in this case is there tato vipat. Yatra dharma suto raja, where there was religion personified, the dharma personified, Yudhishthira was present. Gada Panir Brikodhara. That is Bhima, who is known as the performer of Herculean task, Brikodhara, and has very powerful jatra here. Gada Panir, and he is holding a gada, mace in his hand. Very powerful person. Yatra Dharma Suto Raja, Gada Panir Brikodhara, Krishnostri Gandivam Chapa. The word Krishna is used here twice, and first Krishna is referring to Arjuna. Krishnostri Gandivam Chapam. Arjuna, who was the carrier of Gandiva law, expert archer, And on top of that, Suhrut Krishna's Tatu Vipat. Suhrut Krishna, the biggest well-wisher of any one of us, Krishna, was always physically present with the Pandavas. But still they had to go through this calamities. And Prabhupada is saying how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King? How can there be reverses? So, irreversible is a reaction which has happened. You can't bring back the two things that you mix to get a final product. You can't go back. Irreversible. Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nanishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised in transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Irreversible. Time, once it is gone, it is gone. There is a lecture of Srila Prabhupada, not just one, I think in many places Prabhupada has done this. He will look at the time and we will see 8:26 and then he will wait for some time and the time becomes 8:27. So 8:27, 29th of September. Can we bring back 8:26 once it is gone? No. Time gone is gone. Irreversible. Sometimes people who are businessmen, they think time is money. But money you can lose, money you can bring it back, money you can spend. Time is not like that. You can't again get back the time. Time is more powerful than money. How wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reverses in the presence of King Yudhishthira, the son of the demigod controlling religion, Bhima, the great fighter of Katla, the great bowman Arjuna with his mighty weapon Gandiva, and above all, the Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. Beautiful purport actually, beautiful purport. I have highlighted a few things just for our sanity and to remember some things when we go back. One of the things which Prabhupada mentions in the purport is, despite the power of pious acts, the power of personalities. You see how many powers? Power of pious acts. How many of us think we are very pious people here? I've never done any simple activity. Acha, Arya, Raj Arya. Never? You've done some, huh? So you'll be a very pious person. Despite the power of pious acts, power of personality, how many of you think you are the most powerful person here? You've got a lot of power. Power of expert management. Power of weapons. Power of weapons, where do we have weapons? Where is the power of expert management? And under the direct supervision of Lord Krishna, direct supervision of Lord Krishna, the Pandavas suffered so many practical reverses. Sometimes we think, why me? I'm chanting kar raha hu, I'm doing devotional service. Itna chanting karke Hare Krishna, some people look down upon us. Somebody else gets promotion, I am kicked out of the job. Kya hua? Krishna, Krishna. Who are these people? Pandavas. Despite the power of pious acts, power of personalities, power of expert management, power of weapons, under the direct supervision of Lord Krishna, Pandavas suffered so many practical reverses, which can only be explained as due to the influence of Kala, inevitable time. Kala is identical with the Lord Himself, and therefore the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord Himself. We can't inexplicable wish of the Lord. You can't fathom what is the wish of the Lord, but it is happening under the direct supervision because Kala is identical with the Lord. Therefore, the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord Himself. There is one sentence in the purport, the last line, as Prabhupada always has something very powerful in the first and last line. I want all of you to repeat this sentence. There is nothing to be lamented When a matter is beyond the control of any human being, there is nothing to be lamented. When a matter is beyond the control of any human being. Okay, एक बार काफी है. So this sentence is very, very powerful. Often we feel morose, sad, when pain comes, when miseries come, because we want to fight, we want to be happy at any cost, and we question, hey man, I'm taking to this path of devotion. Still, look at the examples of the Pandavas. Who can be more virtuous, more powerful, more expert in managing religion personified, Bhima, Yudhishthira, Arjuna, all of them. And the Lord Himself is there. Yet they had to go through so many reversals. Who are we then? What is our position? But how much rebel comes inside? How much of rejection, disapproval when something like that happens in life? Because we are not seeing it is happening because of inevitable time. And the inevitable time is actually the inexplicable wish of the Lord. It's the wish of the Lord. So why rebel? Why go through this kind of mental this thing? Actually, we should be certain about one thing, that this life is full of uncertainties. One thing is certain for all of us. पैर टूट जाता है, हाथ सूख जाता है, गिर जाते हैं, नौकरी चला जाता है, कुछ ना कुछ होता है. We don't. Actually, every atom in this material world is created to explode. It is filled with some kind of vipada. Padam is vipada. It is filled with major pains and miseries and so on and so forth. One intelligent, thoughtful man should question, why? Why this much of pain? What is the Lord? What is it? What the Lord wants? Unfortunately, we don't question. We don't question because we are so busy in our own life, trying to figure out this thing, that thing, and we don't question. We don't go into the depths of the proper questioning. Why? What is the reason? What's going on? We don't just go into the depths. And on top of that, we are in this beautiful age, the age of Kali Yuga. So wonderful. Satya Yuga starts with 75% of virtues, comes down as Tretya comes to 50. Then 50 it starts, then comes to Dwapara. And when the Dwapara is ending, we are at 25%, dwindling. And on top of that, as Kali Yuga is progressing, as the influence of Kali is becoming more and more powerful on us, big problems are happening inside. I'll give you some examples and then we will see this verse in the right context. Some people get up in the morning, so they look at their phone, first thing, no unread messages, no WhatsApp messages. What's going on? Is the world aware that I'm alive or not? See, the whole social media is created in such a manner, it makes us connected. To whom? To them. Makes us connected to the social media, to keep checking, kya ho raha hai? And make us completely disconnected from our own inner self. Fully disconnected. We have no idea why these problems are coming to us. What are those reversals? What are those difficulties? So conditioned, more than conditioning, Prabhupada uses the word, we are so diseased. You have a disease. If the disease is at a very nation stage, then you go to some Ayurveda doctor, Sayam will give some bhasma. Bhasma is some kind of powder, take that. Doesn't work. Next level, you go for churna. Churna is like Avipattikara Churna, so there's a few names I remember because after having gone through so many medicines. Churna you take, doesn't work. You take tablets, pills. Pills also tablets and pills you take, still not working. Disease has increased more. What do you do? Injections. Take injections, still not working. What will you do? Exercise.
Surgery.
Surgery. I need maybe. Just intravenous. It's the mistake. Intravenous also, if you are not in a position to go to the hospital, they will come, the mobile units, the doctor mobile ICU, everybody will come to put it inside. And you're lying in the bed, intravenous injection, whether it will work or not, that also you don't know. This is our pathetic condition where we are stuck in this material world. Unfortunately, we don't know what is the right medicine. Beautifully, Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings this song. Enache Osudha Magi Maya Nasi Bare Lagi. Enache Osudha Magi Maya. Madhav, this is not Enache which Mataji says. Enache, I don't know, something you said. Wow. Enache, I brought this. Enache Osudha Magi Maya Nasi Bare Lagi. Maya Nasi Bare Lagi. We are so unfortunate, so diseased. And the Lord has brought this medicine. And this medicine we don't value. Enache Osudha Magi Maya Nasi Bare Lagi. What is Maya? Maya where I think I am happy, I am fine without the Lord. Lord is not required. Material world is fine, good, great place without the Lord. That is Maya. And we are stuck here. Enache Osudha Magi Maya Nasi Bare Lagi. But to take this, it's not easy because the conditioning is so much. You ask people who come here, you tell them chant 16 rounds, some takes years. Pushing. Hey Baba, chant 16 rounds minimum. That is what Prabhupada is saying, that is what Krishna is telling. When we ourselves don't have the value, conviction, taste for that, how will we share it with others? I was telling this example yesterday. Imagine you go to a chai wala in India. Chai shop. Chai bana, chai, sip liya chai. And then you take a chai and then you say, what did you chai? Come बुलाओ मालिक को बुलाओ. मालिक तो नहीं है. किधर गया मालिक? वो सामने वाला चाय पी रहा है. If you only yourselves don't know what is the value of this, what will you tell it to others? We chant the 10 offenses against the holy name, just like parrot. That also we struggle. एक word भूल जाते हैं, दूसरा word भी. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna to be imagination. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. Regularly, every day, we chant those 10 offenses, not for somebody else, not to say that I have memorized, but to internalize, to apply those. To come to the stage where we can actually chant Hare Krishna properly. And that chanting of Hare Krishna, Maya Nasi Bare Lagi, Enache Osudha Magi Maya Nasi Bare Lagi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought this medicine. He wants to give it freely. Destroy this Maya. We're not interested. And disease has gone so much. Highest degree of disease, it's just nothing, no. Still we are very careless. We're not worried about it. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, just feel like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Actually, sometimes people ask, why are you chanting so loudly? People are not interested, you are going on, why so much chanting? Oh, what is it? People are not interested, we can't, peaceful, we can't. So, sometimes you hear, the company that I was working for, we used to manufacture something called a concentrator. It will give oxygen. So you can put that oxygen in your nose. It's not a cylinder, it's not bulky, it's a small thing. You can put it in your nose. But it was very pricey, very expensive. There were a lot of complaints. Who will buy this? So we also used to go and complain to our managers, no, the product is not good. And that's why all this advertising is there, no? That's why we do all this marketing. I don't know how many of you had this or know this, but in our MBA, in our marketing, they used to talk about 4 things called IDA. IDA is first is attention, second is interest, third is desire, and fourth is activity. Somehow or other capture the attention of the people. First the attention is captured, then you generate an interest. Once the interest is generated, then there will be a desire. And when the desire is there, they will do an activity. So what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, how did he capture the attention? He would go on the street and chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With raised hands. Beautiful form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he used to go and chant in the streets, he used to attract the attention. Where does the interest come from? The interest comes from purity. Without purity, there will be no interest. Why our struggle is not to chant quality rounds. Our struggle is somehow finish 16 rounds and just keep that chanting line somewhere until the next day. So 16 rounds is minimum, Prabhupada says. I was reading this Leelamrita. There is there are 6 volumes which are chronologically, systematically written, and there is a 7th volume which is written by Saraswati Maharaj, where he says additional pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there, those pastimes which didn't fit into any of those things are put into that. In that there is a mention where there is this devotee by name Govinda Dasa. She saw one day in which place? Hawaii. There was an insect which was crawling on the window pane, and she was very curious and she saw that very closely. It was a slug. So, Prabhupada, there is a slug here. Prabhupada was not very amused. There is a slug. What type of slug takes birth or when does it mate and all? He was not interested. Prabhupada tells her, go and chant Hare Krishna to the insect. And she takes it as a Guru Vakya and goes and chants very softly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this mantra is so powerful, so powerful. But unfortunately our disease is also so high. We don't get this, we don't take this. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came and chanted, so many, this Brahmanas, they used to criticize. They never used to get this. Hare Krishna, Itana Jor se. Vishnu is sleeping there. Let him sleep. No, why so much Hare Krishna? Or there is another thing, there was a devotee who, temple who went, his father or mother, one of them was ill, almost on the deathbed. He was chanting for long hours. His father came and scolded him. Kitna Hare Krishna kare? Hare Krishna ko bhi thoda aram kare. Chodo. He can never get this. Never. Thank you. I remember yesterday some of you had gone for book distribution. In Bangalore, once I had gone to book distribution. And there was a man who came. How people, try to avoid these things. They don't know what is the real medicine and how much they avoid this. So one person came and he said, क्या है? मैं बोला इसको हम बुक्स बोलते हैं. तो इसको आप ऐसे खोलोगे तो पेजेस आते हैं. इसमें भगवान का इंस्ट्रक्शन है, आप पढ़ोगे एक पेज, फिर दूसरा पेज लोगे तो और इंस्ट्रक्शंस मिलेगा, उसको आप पढ़ोगे. बढ़िया, बहुत अच्छा. Give it back. So we live in a place which is so precarious. We don't know what is our position, what is really good. And we have our own ideas. I don't really want to get into this, but sometimes, we feel, I am a grihastha. I'm a responsible householder. I have to take care of my wife. My wife thinks I have to take care of my husband, my family. How will I do devotional service? There should be some relaxation, some concession for me. Only on weekends, 1 hour in the morning, tuck, somehow I have to do and run, rush. After that, who knows what happens. After all, I'm a grihastha. Is there anywhere in the scripture or anywhere in the instructions of Prabhupada, where Prabhupada says, oh, you are a grahastha, concession. कितना बच्चे हैं? 2 बच्चे, 16 नहीं, आप 13 में रहो, 12-13 में करो, वो चलेगा. 16 rounds minimum. What is our position doesn't matter. Like somebody thinks, whoever is dressed, I think brahmachari life is amazing. Yeah, better attentive, japa kare. Brahmachari things are dressed, independence kind of रहते हैं, उनका नहीं बचा है. Doesn't matter. All of us, we have our own share of problems. But the 16 rounds chanting is minimum. There is no compromise. There is nothing where it says that grahasthas are, there is some leniency for them. They can't chant. If they don't chant, it's okay. If they don't do that, weekdays if they don't do, it's fine. Only on weekends if they show up, it's okay. No. It will be very, very serious. These purports of Srimad Prabhupada are so wonderful. So wonderful. There's so much of revelation in this. Any person who takes up to this can become absolutely peaceful and blissful. Today, what I thought I'll do is, as I said, the time is so limited and there is so much to explain, so much to go into the depths and appreciate this purpose. There are few things, last 2-3 classes that we have had. The first thing that we saw was Aho Kashtam Aho Anyaya Yad Yuyam Dharmanandana Nahate Krishtam, what is the words? Dharma Vipra Chudashraya. Aho Kashtam Aho Anyayam Yad Yuvam Dharmanandana Jivitam Nahatam Krishtam Vipra Dharma Chudashraya. In that purport, Prabhupada says, as long as a person is fully in cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, guided by the bona fide Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and strictly following religious principles, one has no cause for despondency, however trying the circumstances of life. As long as a person is fully in cooperation, Vipra Dharma Chudashraya, Achyuta, he is in cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, he has taken shelter of the religious principles, and he is following the guidance of Vaishnavas. Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and strictly follow the rules. He has got no cause for despondency, however trying the circumstances of life. This is the beginning of the Udgar of Bhishma. Aho Kashtam, Aho Anyaya, oh, how terrible injustice, how terrible sufferings we have gone through. You could only survive because you were following these 3 things. Dharma Chuta, Dharma Vipra Dharma Chudashraya. Religious principles, taking shelter of Krishna, and taking guidance from different, the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. Then in the next verse we saw, this was the last verse that we had, very beautiful verse. It says, Sarvam Kala Kratam Manye Bhavatam Chayala Priyam Sapado Yad Vashelok Vayo Ganavali. Like the wind which scatters the cloud, strong, powerful wind. It can drive away any amount of cloud. It can just scatter it. Like that, our plans in life get scattered by one remote control of the Lord, which He presses, which is the time factor, sometime. All our plans get scattered. Sarvam Kala Kratam Manye Bhavatam Yad Apriyam. Apriyam is, it is not very, we don't like it, it's unpleasant. And beautiful purport in this. Yudhishthira should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. As long as you have accepted a body, whoever you are, the spirit soul who's encased, who's encased in this body, has to go through the sufferings. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. Yudhishthira should not think that he had committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequence. It's not because of previous birth some sins and the suffering is a consequence. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature. But a pious man is faithful to the Lord, for he is guided by the bona fide Brahmana and Vaishnava following the religious principles. These 3 guiding principles should be the aim of life. One should not be disturbed by the tricks of eternal time. Even the great controller of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of that time Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by the time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. This last line is very powerful. One should not grudge being thus controlled by time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. I am just doing some devotional service, doesn't mean that I am exempt. One should not even grudge. Pious man is faithful to the Lord for his guidance. This is a forceful representation. Kala is a forceful representative of the Lord within the material world. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time, as long as one is in the condition of this material world. And then, so this is the previous verse, the one that I just read today. It says that Kala is identical with the Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord. First, he said that you could survive because you were taken shelter of Dharma, Vipra and Achyuta. Then he said that this is inevitable time, which is irreversible, because of which we are going through this. Everybody, whether it doesn't matter who you are, how pious you are, this is a forceful representative of the Lord. Kalo speakers Tat. So this is Kala who comes and destroys. We don't see that, but it is happening every moment. This wall is getting destroyed, my body is getting destroyed, everything gets destroyed, and we don't see that. And here he is telling in the third verse, today's verse, it is an inexplicable wish of the Lord. It's a wish of the Lord. It is happening because of Kala which is irreversible, which is inevitable, and then this is inexplicable wish of the Lord. You know, in this world there are two categories. Haribol, Hare Krishna, Subhu Prabhu. There are two categories of people in this material world. Often, we say there are 3 kinds of people, 4 kinds of people, 5 kinds of people. There are categories of people. But there are 2 categories of people. Can anybody guess what are those 2 categories?
Cheater and cheated.
Cheater and cheated, okay. Sura, Asura.
Devotee, non-devotee.
Devotee, non-devotee. Related to the verse that we are seeing, and pay attention. Only there are 2 categories of people. I saw recently there was one boy who had come to our temple. He was wearing a t-shirt. And it says there are 2 types of people. People who can extrapolate of existing data. There are people who have got access to existing data, and there are people who can extrapolate off of. Basically, there are 2 kinds of people, 2 categories of people in this material world. One who go through the suffering, never understand why they have to go through. What is the purpose behind those pain and suffering? There is a very small, minuscule percentage of the people who understand the purpose behind the suffering. Very small. Otherwise, everybody becomes rebellious, complains, questions, why me? And it is a great boon and a privilege to understand why we go through pain, why pains and sufferings are there in this material world. It's a great boon. And that boon can be accessed by taking the help of the scriptures. Otherwise, it will not make any sense. No sense at all. You just can't figure it out. So just 2 categories of people. People go through sufferings, the pains, the miseries. But only a small percentage, very small percentage, understand why they go through the sufferings. First thing which I was thinking in my mind is this whole world is designed to make, the whole world is created or designed to create suffering, to make suffering. Nature of the world is suffering because it is designed for suffering. Where is it mentioned? How do we know that? So if you see Brahma, in his prayers in 3rd canto, he says this: Shut trit tridhatu bhir imam muhuradyamana sitoshna vata varshe itare taracha kamagninachyudarusha sudur bharena sampashyato mana urukrama siddhate. So when Brahma was asked to do the secondary creation, when he created the body, he had to embed something in this. He had to install, he had to design it in such a manner that is shut. Shut is hunger. I am having this disease where I am not supposed to have so many things. But fortunately, unfortunately, when days there are not the right items made, whatever is there, because hunger is there. मसाला डाल के दिया है, जो भी है, जाना है, because there is hunger. Shut, trit is the thirst. At regular intervals, we have to do something. There is a hunger. See how this is created, how this is designed. Imagine if this phone, if it is not supposed, the phone is supposed to, if I have to call, and I should be able to speak to the other person on the other side, and do some other things in the phone. That is what is the purpose of the phone. But imagine if I start talking to the phone and the phone explodes. That means it is not solving the purpose. There is a reason Brahma, when he is creating this pain. There is hunger, there is thirst. Then tridhatu bhir. There is always imbalance of kapha vata pitta. Always. Somebody may say, I'm a perfect vata body. No, sir. No perfect vata. There is no perfect vata, no perfect pitta, no perfect kapha. Only in some Ayurveda website you will find kapha vata pitta are balanced. Otherwise, in all our bodies there is imbalance. Kshutra tridhatu bhir. Imam Muhur Ardhimara. So this is, Kshutra and Tridhatu, he has put it inside. Outside, Sitoshna Vata Varsai. Sitoshna, there is strong, cold. It will start snowing now, it will become so cold, we are already wearing jackets. Ushna, and there is heat. Vata, strong wind. Varsai, rain. Somebody says, no, don't worry, I have got my house fully protected. I've got one earthquake-proof, cyclone-proof, winter-proof, not even a single air will enter inside this. Sitoshna Vata Varsai Vidaritaracha Kama Nina. Okay, you're protected outside, but there is lust which is burning inside. Kama Nina. Kama Nina Achyuta. Then there is Achyuta Rusha. And anger. So much anger. You tell anything to anyone, everybody, oof. The tolerance limits are so low, just can't tell anything. Arey, मैंने बोल दिया, जानता है मैं कौन? कामान में ना चिता रुष्टा, just सुदूर भारीना, just be fully embedded, पूरा भर एक इंच का जगह भी नहीं छोड़े. Sampasya ho mana urukrama siddhatami. Looking at this, I feel so compassionate, I feel so pity. Brahma is telling this. O great actor, my Lord, all these poor creatures are constantly perplexed by hunger, thirst, severe cold, secretion and bile, attacked by coughing, winter, blasting summer, rains, many other disturbing elements, overwhelmed by strong sex urges, indefatigable anger. I take pity on them. I'm very much aggrieved for them. This is how the material world, the Creator was created. He is feeling compassion, how it is created. This is designed for us to go through the suffering. Why? Question is very important. Why? Imagine if there is a candle which is there in front of you, and you put your finger in that fire. क्या होगा? Burn. Time लगेगा, पहले तो चलेगा. But imagine if you are not experiencing the pain, then what will happen? ये तो जाएगा, उंगली तो जल गया. You don't even understand that you are not supposed to put your finger over there. The pain helps us to realize I am not supposed to be here. I am not supposed to put my finger over there. This is not if the pain is not there, I would never think that I am not supposed to put the finger over there. So this material world is created for us. Because we go through the suffering, we realize, oh, this is a terrible place. This is not where I am supposed to find permanent happiness. Live ever after. Every day in the morning we sing, Samsara Dava Nalalidha Loka. It's a forest fire. The experience of forest fire of material existence only comes when we are in touch with the scriptures. When we are in touch with the pure devotee's instructions. Otherwise it doesn't strike. So the material world is so orchestrated, so created, we experience the pain and we realize, oh my God, no, this is not the place. This is not where I am supposed to settle down. I am supposed to go back home, back to Godhead, which is free from all the kunthas, anxieties, free from all this birth, death, old age and disease. There is at least a desire which comes inside. I should endeavor for that. Otherwise, if there is no pain, it's just body, even if it is dying, if there is no pain, if there is disease, there is no pain, if there is old age, there is no pain. Never even think of. But everybody who goes through this doesn't come to that. They don't extrapolate. They can't fathom. They can't figure it out. Only a very few minuscule people get this. Let's go to the next one. I would like all of you to go back and read this purport. If ever in life you go through a lot of reversals, lot of difficulties, lot of challenges, lot of problems, mind is overwhelmed, and you don't know what to do, you're confused, read the purport of this verse. This is the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Aham mamaso patiresha mesu brajeshwara khilo vidava sati gopyascha gopaha sahabodhanascha me yan mayayatham kumati samivati. Beautiful verse and beautiful purport. This verse is spoken by Yashoda. So Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, when she got this complaint from the cowherd boys that Krishna has eaten mud. Krishna mud khaya. When Mother Yashoda calls Krishna, did you eat Nanda mere lala? Did you eat mud? He said, no, you are lying. People don't know. Just lying. Then Mother Yashoda asked Krishna, can you open your mouth? And when Krishna opened his mouth, what did Mother Yashoda say? Mud.
The creation.
Lot of mud. All the universes. So when she saw those universes, she was completely bewildered, completely. She in her mind was thinking, mud khaya, how much of mud he has taken, how much of indigestion will happen because of that, how will I take care of that? Now when she saw that all these universes are there in Krishna's mouth, she is thinking, what is the effect of all this indigestion? And then she says this verse which is so powerful. Aham mamaso patiresha mesuto brajeshwara khilo pitapa sati gopyascha gopa sahabodhanascha me yan mayayatham kumati samivati. We don't have time to explain it. Beautiful translation. It is by the influence of the Supreme Lord's Maya that I am wrongly thinking that Nanda Maharaj is my husband, Krishna is my son, and that because I am the queen of Nanda Maharaj, all the wealth of cows and calves are my possessions, and all the government men and their wives are my subjects. Actually, I also am eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord. He is my ultimate shelter. Because of illusion, they are thinking, my husband is so nice, so caring, so loving, so taking care of me. My children are so obedient, so much this thing. With them I will live. All this is, who's telling this? Yashoda. I am wrongly thinking that Nanda Maharaj is my husband. Krishna is my son, because I am the queen of Nanda Maharaj. All the wealth of cows and calves are my possessions, and all the cowherd men and their wives are my subjects. Actually, I also am eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord. He is my ultimate shelter. And in the purport, Prabhupada mentions 3 points which Yashoda Mai talks about, which is very, very important, very powerful. To understand these difficulties in the reversals when they come, what should we do and what do we do? How do we know? So the second reason why these sufferings come, one is this is designed so that we experience the pain and we realize that, or at least there is a doubt which comes in our mind that this material world which we are thinking is a place of enjoyment is not. One of the reasons why people go and distribute books and which Prabhupada encouraged so much, so that the karmis who are madly engrossed in sense gratification business see some different kinds of different species of life who are happy without doing that. They get doubts. Really? In sense gratification there is no happiness. So the first thing which in the purport Prabhupada mentions is we have to acknowledge cause of all suffering is Krishna. It is happening. He is the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karana. This verse we should remember. Sarva Karana Karana. Whatever it is, ultimately the cause of all that is Krishna. Prabhupada says, acknowledge this as Krishna's will. This is happening by Krishna's will. First. Second is, once you acknowledge this is Krishna's will, accept it. Accept it. Acceptance is a big thing. We don't accept things. We come, we say chant Hare Krishna and be happy. We say chant Hare Krishna, but after that we expect that our desire, our minds, whatever we are thinking, that should be fulfilled. Accept this. Acknowledge this is Krishna's will. Accept that this is acknowledged and then accept. And the third and the most important thing is absorb this with the attitude of gratitude. The beautiful verse of Brahma, which we know all of us. Tatte anukampa susamekshama punjani kritam vipakam ridva babhir vidatana namaste jiveta mukti padesudaiva. Acknowledge, accept, and then absorb. This is Lord. Actually, the Lord knows what's good for me. He's putting me deliberately in this kind of a situation. Is also His anukampa. It's His compassion. Absorb with attitude of gratitude. Tatte anukampam susamikshama punjaneva kritam vipakam tattva yadva babhir vidadhana namaste jivet. If somebody does beautiful prayers, these are all revelations. So this purport, if you read, I'm just giving you one or two, three lines, but very beautifully actually. Prabhupada explains how Mother Yashoda was trying to prevent baby Krishna from all the troubles, but the trouble seems to not be leaving him behind. They're coming more and more. Of course, it's all transcendental pastimes, but Prabhupada is saying when an ordinary mother who's trying to protect her child from difficulties and miseries and problems, why they have to go through this, and what is the reason, and how do we attribute this? No spiritual and no material universities talk about this. You go to any place, anywhere, we get this material knowledge. This material knowledge can help us to face some problems or difficulties in life. But when crisis comes, when calamity comes, how do we respond? That is where spiritual knowledge is required. Unfortunately, we have no taste. We feel drowsy, sleepy when we have Bhagavatam trance. We feel we are doing a big favor by engaging in devotional service. Little do we know the importance of hearing, very little. And even far worse is, we have no desire, no eagerness. Okay, and what to do with my body, this thing, it's not supporting, it's not helping. But I somehow should be eager. Eagerness also is not there. No eagerness. The material knowledge can help us to deal with the problems or difficulties in some way or another. But when crisis comes, we can't deal with it. Only spiritual knowledge can help us to deal with the crisis, because crisis or calamity is something which we have to tolerate. Material problems or difficulties, you can talk, you can do something, you can do this thing, but calamities and crisis. What is the difference between a problem or a difficulty and a calamity? Your son or your daughter is not getting admitted to a school or a college, maybe a problem. You can solve it by some of your intelligence or something, use something, this, that, recommendation, double recommendation, this, that, some letter, something you do, and somehow you get admission. But your son is no more. Your daughter is no more. What will you do in that time? That's a calamity. And to deal with that, the material world is so orchestrated, so designed that in every act, in every this thing, there are calamities. And we don't use the weapon, the arsenal which is given to us more intelligently, effectively. Think he can, so no, we need association, we need sangha, we need to spend time with these books, with this knowledge, more and more, seriously, rigorously, with great endeavor and enthusiasm, even if the mind rebels, even if the mind is not accepting. Third thing, which is a very interesting thing, which Narada Muni says in the first canto, Tasyeva heta prayateto govido, na labhyate yad pramatam apariyada, tal labhyate dukkhavat anyata sukham, kalena sarvatra gambhira bhasa. Like the happiness comes unsought, similarly the miseries also come unsought. You don't have to worry about it. They come. Tasyaiva heta prayateta bhavata. Don't aspire, don't look for this. Like we're trying hard to get happiness. But he's saying not required. Like the miseries which are coming on sort, similarly happiness also will come. But you should endeavor for that one thing which is not available even if you are wandering through the material universes, going up and down. Still that one thing is not available. What is that? The prayer to engage in devotional service. Tasyaiva heta prayateta bhavata. The only effort should be made for that. Na labhyate yad brahmadam uparyatah tal labhyate dukkhavat anyatah sukham kalena sarvatra gavira ramasa. We don't even know about this. Everything else it will come as destined, like the miseries are coming. Similarly, happiness will come. Don't endeavor for that separately. Endeavor for that one thing which is not accessible, even wandering through the different material universes. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet down to the lowest planet. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them. The last and final thing that I wanted to tell you is Prabhupada in this last 2-3 purports is talking about inexplicable intent of the Lord. Kala is an inexplicable intent. So, one thing which we have to understand is, if we really want to understand the intent of the Lord, we have to inquire about it. And that inquiry has to be an intelligent one. The inquiry can be intelligent and can be intense to understand the intent. But still we should remember that this inquiry that we are doing, we can't infer the intent of the Lord. And we cannot even interfere in the intent of the Lord. This is all a six eyes. So we want to understand the intent of the Lord, first we have to inquire. Inquiry has to be an intelligent one and an intense one. But despite the inquiry which is intelligent and intense, to understand the intent, we should remember that we cannot infer the intent of the Lord. And also we can't interfere with the intent of the Lord. This is inexplicable time. So that is why the purport, the line that we read, we will repeat again. There is nothing to be lamented when a matter is beyond the control of any human being. You can repeat that.
There is nothing to be lamented when it is beyond the control of human being.
So this whole material world is created and designed in such a manner that we go through these pains, we experience this pain. But why? What is the purpose of the pain? Only a very small percentage of the people understand it. Otherwise, as I said, some people when they hear this Pandavas have to go through so much of sufferings, they think in their mind, Krishna के पास जाएं कि गणपति शिवा के रोड में जाके काम करें. You can't understand this. This is the inexplicable wish of the Lord, inevitable time of the Lord, which is irreversible. Everybody has to go through. But this purpose, this pain, the pain that we go through, there is a purpose behind it. It is meant to purify us in one way. And the reciprocation of the Lord at the end of that painful phase is so soothing. That reciprocation is like a warm hug from someone who is very near and dear to you. Like you are completely exhausted, materially fatigued. You just come from some outside world, it's too hot and this thing, and you take a cold shower. So that reciprocation of the Lord is something which the devotees look forward to. These are some of the points from this verse. There's a lot that we can discuss. I'll stop here and see if you have any questions or comments.
Do I have 2 questions?
You always have 2 questions. Yes.
In this synonyms, Dharma Sutta, the son of Dharmaraja exists, but Yudhishthira Maharaj is the son of Surya Bhagavan.
Yudhishthira is whose son? Okay, now go ahead with your question.
So should it say, so is Surya Bhagavan Dharmaraja or Yudhishthira Maharaj is Dharmaraja?
I thought Karna was the son of Surya, isn't it? Yudhishthira is son of Dharma, Yamaraj.
So Yamaraj is also Dharmaraja?
Yes. Okay.
Because we refer to Yudhishthira Maharaj as Dharmaraj.
He's called Dharmaraj because he's an embodiment of the religious principle. He's walking the talk, right? He's himself as a religious person.
So Yamaraj is also Dharmaraj because here it says the son of Dharmaraja.
Yeah, I mean, Yamaraj is also Dharmaraj, Dharmaraj is also Dharmaraj, there can be many Dharmarajas, I mean, Lord Rama also is Dharmaraj, Parikshit is also Dharmaraj, because they are all, there is no question, they are completely blinded by absorption of Krishna, in a positive way, they don't see anything beyond, Yudhishthira can never tell even a lie, he is fully holding those religious principles very strictly. That's why he is a Dharmaraj.
My second question is, you said Yudhishthira Maharaj was suffering in that life because he was existing in a material world, and it's not necessary that he did any sinful activity.
Yes, there in Bhagavatam. Yeah.
So, but the fact that he was born again was his karmic result, right?
No, so Yudhishthira and all are eternal associates of the Lord. They don't take birth like all of us because of our karmic reactions we are taking birth. They come to assist the Lord in his pastimes. So there is a difference. Even the Lord's birth, the pure devotee's birth, and ordinary people like us who are forced to accept bodies, there is a huge difference. This happens karma daiva nitrena, but that happens by the will of the Lord. So sometimes in some of these matters we have to use our common sense. And spiritual knowledge is not some intellectual exercise which we just read and use common sense. In one of the letters, Prabhupada writes to one of his disciples that he had some question as to how to figure out something like this. Take Dharmaraj, something. These are Dharmaraj, something like that. Prabhupada said, use your common sense. If you don't have it, ask someone who has common sense. I'll tell you a very nice story. This will stop. There was one guru and his disciple. They were going to a place of pilgrimage. The guru was sitting on the horse, and the disciple was walking next to him. So they're climbing some uphill. And the one bank that the guru had, that horse had fell. So he looked at the Sishya, he looked at the disciple. The disciple also looked at him. The guru said, did you notice anything? He said, no. Are you fool? That bank has fallen down, you pick it up. So he went and picked up, and then he gave it to him. Then the journey resumed for some more time. And then the guru's bead bag fell down. So then he looked at the disciple also looked at him. Did you notice anything? He said, no. My bag fell down. He said, no, the bag is there. He said, no, not this bag. My bead bag fell down. Pick it up. So he picked it up and gave it to him. So then he saw that this fellow is so crazy, unless I tell him properly, he will not understand. So he told, anything that falls down from the horse, you have to pick it up and give it to me. So he already left. Horse had the excreta, picked it up and brought it to the guru. Guru said, you fool, you idiot, you rascal, you should have some common sense. Then he said, I'm giving it to you in writing. Write down. Bag number 1, bag number 2, bag number 3, bead bag, my danda, my kamandal. If it falls down, you pick it up. So he also had bag number 1, bag number 2, bag number 3, bead bag, danda, kamandal. They were going. After some time, the guru dozed off. Sleepy, tired. He fell down from the horse. Bag number 1, bag number 2, bag number 3, Kamandalu Danda. He left him and he carried on. What I am saying is, the Vedic scriptures, the scriptural instructions which are given, we need to use our common sense also. It's not some intellectual jugglery or something. Very simple. And Prabhupada has made it even more simple and accessible to us. When we take it in the right spirit, the Lord actually reveals these things in our heart. Realizations come. Often the problem is because of our condition, there is a layer of ignorance and there is a rebelliousness against injunction. Why have we go through all these things? But when we become submissive, that's why Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshati Jnana Jnanina Sarvadarsha. You approach a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively. Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya and render service to him. Upadekshati Jnana Jnanina Sarvadarsha. Mind you, these words are very powerful. We read, pata hai 4.34. But it's a self-realized soul. He can impart this knowledge. So self-realized means the person who has realized his own self. If the spiritual master is not self-realized, how will he make you realize your own self? So people often ask, whom should we take as our spiritual master? One of the criteria is he has to be self-realized. I should realize the self fully before I tell it to somebody else. And Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya. This is the process. This is the basic process. We can see this once. Amazing clarity when you will get. Amazing clarity. And Prabhupada's purports are filled with jewels. Really, but unfortunately, because our distracted mind and lack of attention and so on and so forth, we don't see them. We don't spend enough time. We like to spend more time with WhatsApp and other things. Useless waste of time. Material medicines can help reduce the pain of your body. Spiritual medicine can help reduce the pain of your mind. Because your intellect becomes sharp. And when the intellect becomes sharp, you can understand why this is happening. That's why I said a very small percentage of the people realize the purpose behind the pain. Not many. They go through this. Very, very few. And that happens by the mercy of the scriptures, by the mercy of the pure devotee. So we'll stop here and see this beautiful prayer section. So these are all small little things. One is time. The other one is the irreversible time, inevitable time, and then it is getting qualified as inexplicable wish of the Lord. And then it gets even further qualified. The next person, I don't want to reveal. Very, very beautiful, subtle points. Those are very worth, paying attention. Why we go through this?
So I had a question for you. This kala, to help someone take up to devotional service, it's causing suffering, irrespective of a devotee or non-devotee. And that suffering leads to pain, and that pain, if someone acknowledges that pain, accepts, and will that, so in a way it's helping total devotional service?
No, kala, it'll unfold, right? Whatever your this thing, in due course of time, it will come. And you have to go through those calamities. Every soul who's entered has to go through. But doesn't mean that, by going through that miseries one becomes self-realized. No. Had that been the case, all the poor, poverty-stricken people or who are going through miseries would have become God-realized. It doesn't happen. You need association, sangha. You need to see that thing in the right perspective. To comprehend that, you need the scriptural injunctions and the association of devotees. Otherwise, it will not make sense. Then the perspective, the vision changes, darshan changes of seeing things, and a person becomes spiritually inquisitive or makes progress in that direction. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srimad Prabhupada ki,